Perfect.
So how long do you plan on having this
Around
interview?
15 to 20 minutes.
We won't have that much content.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, doesn't matter.
Because our Q1 results are in 2 days, so I can't
Correct.
talk
I know
about
you'll be on
Q1.
silent period, so we'll not talk of numbers at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try to make it shorter and GIC being the focus of.
Sure. Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bank, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Mr. Ayush Bagla, ED at CERA Sanitaryware, joining in. Welcome to the show, Ayush, and always a pleasure to speak to you. Ayush, let's touch upon firstly, wherein the government of Singapore has, invested in CERA Sanitaryware almost 100 odd crores. If you could just give us more details on the same.
Thank you for having Sarah on your show. And Sarah's business model, corporate governance, these issues have been highlighted to the market. The market has received it well over the last 12 to 15 years. We've had marquee investors, Nalanda, DSP, UTI, L&T with us. And one of the existing investors, Lighthouse Capital, which had its fund life coming to a close in a couple of years, decided to sell. They were sitting on a lot of gains. And GIC, which is a $500 billion plus arm of the Singapore government, decided to invest. So we welcome them. It has been an honor to have such a marquee name as one of our important shareholders. They've invested a large amount. So it was a secondary transaction. No funds came into the company simply because it was sale of existing shares. There's no shareholders agreement. All shareholders are at par. Other than that, the institutional shareholding percentage has crossed 30%. So all these are the pluses of the transaction and even otherwise.
Right. So Ayush, with this kind of a transaction, how does it actually benefit the company?
See, the company will aspire to even higher standards of quality of earnings and corporate governance. So the company was always under a microscope. Now it will be under hundreds of microscopes. So every action taken by the company in increasing its top line, bottom line, product introduction will be analyzed and discussed. Global investors follow GIC's portfolio in India, so those global investors will be attracted to take a look at this company, review the company, and then depending on how we pass muster, they'll want to invest in this company. For us, it will be a lot more attention that we get from brokerages, analysts, and investors globally.
Hmm. Right. So what would be the plan from here on in terms of investments, in terms of fundraising? We've got GIC, which has come on board already, but is this a journey that we will be aspiring in the next 12 to 18 months as well, where we will look at further investments of these sorts?
See, in the last 20 years, there's been no dilution of equity in
Hmm.
CERA Sanitaryware, and all the capex and dividends and all the reinvestment has been from internal accruals and profits. And that will continue to be the norm. There's no debt in the company, both working capital and term debt. There's close to 479 crores of cash on the books. And capex program plus dividend is much lower than the annual positive cash flow generation. So based on those metrics, we will continue to increase our top line, bottom line. Capex will be low because we have two, three policies in place. The first is agile manufacturing infrastructure. The reason we do that is we don't want to make all the products ourselves. We want our vendor partners to make the low end basic products which are technologically not complex. We want to use our state of the art automated plant to make only those products which are technologically difficult to make. So our capacities have been saved to make expensive and technologically complex products, which is why our share of outsourcing both in sanitary ware and faucetware is close to 50%. That number will grow as sales suddenly increase. The markets have been very hot from August 2020. Going forward, till the interest rates remain low, which could be a very long-term secular decision by the government, we expect that the markets to remain in a heightened stage of velocity for the next 2, 3 years.
Right. And very lastly, Ayush, with regards to where institutional, investors are concerned, 31.3 odd percent is what is their holding so far. Uh, do we see further dilution from the promoters?
Promoters hold about 55% stake,
Correct.
and that has not changed in the last 20 years. There's no current thinking of the promoters as far as the company is concerned. The company is agnostic, but the promoters have no plans to dilute any equity. And this 30% is a number that may go up, and that will be welcome. So we welcome important institutional shareholders from all over the world to participate in a growth story. And this number a few years ago was 18%. So that number has been steadily going up.
Growing up, right?
Even the quality of investors are not only short-term investors who ride the company's growth for a year or two. All of them have been with us for 5, 10, 12 years.
Hmm.
And they are all looking at compounding their gains.
Right. And Ayush, one thing I want to understand is a lot of times, when you talk about investors coming in companies which are growing, a lot of them come in as strategic investors as well, apart from financial investors. So is that something that we as a company are open to as well? Maybe, if an investor wants to come and comes in even as a strategic investor?
Currently, we have not really spoken to any strategic investors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure global investors, global sanitaryware companies all over the world will be eyeing India as a large market and a growing market. And within that, CERA is an important player. But we have not had any dialogue with any strategic venture or any strategic global companies because there has been no intent in that direction.
Correct, correct, correct. Right. All right, Ayush, I'm not going to get into further details about the company taking into consideration the silence period as well. Thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you
us
so
the
much.
information.
Hiral.
And I hope to speak to you soon after your results as well.
It'll be a pleasure. Thank you so much, Hiral.
Thank you,
Thank
Ayush.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.